Thank you so much for the altitude planners putting it on this day. Worked out for us, but no, I'm honestly very happy to be here and talk a little bit about our experiences. So yeah, I'm going to talk about breaking news and news delivery at scale. Obviously today is an event that is planned news, but whether it's planned or breaking, even when it's events like this and some of the stuff that we'll be talking about, you're going to see they all have uniqueness to them and special needs on how we deliver that to our customers. I'm going to go over a little bit of the types of news that we need to serve our customers and the scale at which we need to do that, specifically using the build-up to the 2020 election, which had its own special DNA to it, and led us to partner with Fastly to come up with a solution to ensure resiliency there. And then a little extra at the end about the way we are tackling some of the bots. A little bit about myself, a little bit more about myself. I head up content platforms team at CNN Digital. Content platforms is the end-to-end content infrastructure, everything from CMS concerns to delivery, rendering, distribution, syndication, integration with partners both on the ingest and on the delivery side. So my team manages and delivers those solutions. In addition to that, or with part of that, it includes things like your traditional DAM infrastructure, video supply chain integration, that all roll in and provide the tooling that we need to tell our stories. Part of that responsibility means that I manage the Fastly relationship for CNN as well. I've been involved in media space for about 20 years, working with Fastly for the last 10 years. So, as I said, CNN is many things, but breaking news is one of our key critical responsibilities. And as you can see, some of the stories here that you may recognize, they come in all shapes and sizes. They come with all sorts of unpredictability, when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, what the storytelling needs are, what's the duration, what is the audience. All of those are factors that lend a complexity to our ability to deliver that. We're also real-time coverage. Very apropos of what's going on today. These are all examples of some of the coverage that we're providing at this election. Ability to do storytelling to meet whatever the story might be. But it's about data, too. We're not just delivering our content. We are providing a data platform for our users so that they can drill deep. And this election, in particular, is going deeper than we've ever seen, with interest at the local level, from the national Senate and House down to state legislatures, to attorney general races, to prosecutors, and so on and so forth. We are providing data so everyone can dive in and get the information they need, and even customize it to their own needs. So going back to 2020, we knew that was going to be a special election, as did everyone, and we knew that we needed to maybe do an extra level of preparedness. That we do a lot of standard best practices and load testing and stress testing and chaos testing and constantly checking resiliency. But for that election, we took a hard look at our level of preparedness and came back with several findings. We knew that this event would exceed, the normal scalability best practices. We say, let's go 10x of your high water mark or whatever. We knew this was probably going to surpass that, and we wanted to be extra ready for that. So, a team of us huddled together at CNN well ahead of the election and identified a few of the key challenges that we need to overcome. One, going back to one of my primary responsibilities, I'm responsible for the content platform. We're building out a new platform that's essentially replacing a collection of legacy systems that date back 14, 15 years at CNN. A vast array of services in various states and various levels of maturity, various levels of flexibility. when you talk about it in the context of disaster recovery, resiliency, scalability. As I said before, we're not just delivering content, we're delivering data. So ensuring that we have resiliency across a fabric of services that are delivering that data. It's not just data for politics, business, weather, sports, and so on. We rely on a large collection of data services. In fact, for our Fastly footprint, the majority of our services are more on the API side than on the main content delivery side. So it's a critical aspect to ensuring that we keep that interactive map working for our users. As I mentioned, unpredictability of the scale of event, two key factors, the spikes, the duration, what fallback plans, our ability to really cover that and to manage throughout the entire event, and have the endurance to see it through. We had some predictions where we said this is going to be 2 weeks solid of craziness. And then a fourth factor was taking a refresh look at our cloud services and the redundancy capabilities within those. I'm sure like several folks here on whichever clouds you were using went through events. We certainly did in 2019 and the lead up to the election. Various failures that exposed vulnerabilities that maybe we hadn't thought of. We thought we had covered with certain redundancies. It just caused us to take a fresh look at how we handle all of that. So that led to looking at our existing infrastructure and building for the new. Very simple picture of what we had been sitting on. This is pretty classic, how we get our content and data out to our users, core CMS database API layer that's publishing through a published pipeline into a delivery tier. You'll notice here, this delivery tier is a single cloud. Going into the 2020 elections, or early in 2020, we were primarily single cloud based and single CDN based as well. The legacy infrastructure, while certainly multi-region, multi-AZ, because of the age of some of that, we had degradation when we did some failovers to secondary regions, and that was a pain point we wanted to address. Some capabilities, some of the storytelling, the first slide I showed with the live events like the Jan 6 event and the Ukraine coverage, that severely degraded when we switched to other regions, again because of some of the legacy infrastructure. We wanted to fill the gap. To do that, we brought in the new platform that we had been building out. Not mature yet, but mature enough for us to deliver rapid solutions in case of failure. And we implemented that and integrated it into our ecosystem alongside the legacy infrastructure. This provided us capability to essentially provide a backup to the primary systems. Our plan for the 2020 election was to lean heavily on the legacy systems, but if they failed, to roll back into these secondary systems. Now, not all the capabilities were there for the functionality we needed, so we added a third layer, which is additional backup support. You can think of this as essentially most basic capabilities to deliver content out. It came with severe restrictions on ability to edit, provide dynamic support, but we can ensure that no matter what, we have a copy of the content somewhere that we can deliver. And in doing so, we added a secondary cloud services so that if we did experience a catastrophic issue on one cloud, another cloud provider could come in. So that was the complexity of our situation. Now, as I said, depending on the type of content we're trying to deliver, different systems were able to support that. So not all of these origins, and we view all that top layer as origins, were alike. And they all had special needs. Depending on the type of content, there was different levels of prioritization. Which system would I go to first? Which led to the problem that we needed to solve. Essentially routing challenges that we needed to solve. Dynamic routing needs by content type or URL. So interpolating whether it's the request or using some other signals to understand which system that needs to go to. And to route across multiple origin types. As I said, not all these origins are the same. So it's not as simple as creating a director there there were 6 levels of fallback that we needed to handle in the VCL and do that on a per content type. Add to that complexity the need to integrate with some of our existing capabilities in VCL that had already led to somewhat complex implementation. Most of our A/B logic is at the edge, is controlled there, whether we're doing client A/B, server A/B, routing, all of that logic is encapsulated in our Fastly edge. And then because of some of the other failover, our shield configuration was a little bit more complex than the standard shield configuration. All of these added complexities to the solution. And short timeline. By the time we built out that infrastructure, we were not too far away from the actual election. So we reached out to Fastly for some assistance in getting this done and making sure that we delivered it on time. We created a Tiger team to go after the solution, which kind of looks like this. And this is and actually there are certain points in this where it leaps off to other diagrams, but this is the fallback logic that we needed to implement in Fastly. At the very high level, you can see routing based on URL types, and as it goes down cascades, depending on this type of content, go to this primary. If that primary, go to its secondary. If that's down, and so on and so forth, all the way down the train. At some point, it actually kicks off to another service, which I'll talk about in a second, where there's a whole other graph that runs it through. So this was rather complex. We worked with the Fastly team to get this implemented in VCL, which led to this, as I said, partnership with the Fastly team, introduction of service chaining on some of the services where we didn't have this. The service chaining allowed us to overcome some of the limitations, the classic restart limit that you might experience if you're trying to do that many levels of fallback. Adding service chaining allows us to overcome that. Doing that in a way where the service chaining occurs only in an emergency or a failure scenario, so that for a typical user, you're going through a single service path and getting your content. That also helps minimize a bit on the cost. Essentially, turning that graph into VCL was creating a custom director logic. That's really what the core solution was in VCL. And both for the election and going forward, we knew that we wanted this to be dynamic, so that we could change pivot at any point. And what that means is, whether explicitly or implicitly the system would check for health and route around it. Explicitly, there are times when we would see systems running hot, maybe in this region, and we wanted to pivot over to that region. So we wanted dynamic routing capabilities. So we leveraged the dictionary as essentially a lookup and a semaphore system to control this routing, even getting into the point where we could define new custom routes in there to, on the fly, divert traffic just for a subset of a content type. So lean heavily on that. And then, of course, goes without saying, telemetry across the entire system. The results, we had a very good week and survived what is definitely one of the most epic traffic events for CNN, ranging from the beginning of Tuesday till Saturday, 9:30, 10 a.m. I think I was driving in my car, heard the news, pulled up the Fastly dashboard, checked all the stats, everything looked good. It was a success for us internally. Simple way that we measured that success. Here's some basic numbers. Traffic surge. Depending on the service, we saw 25 to 100x a normal day for CNN. And despite that surge, we kept errors low to almost non-existent. We did have failures throughout the week. That fallback logic did kick in from time to time. There were times when it was explicit and implicit. But at a high level, the system works. The telemetry also showed us. The second I see that I'm serving from that tertiary for system alerting, you could see it on the graph clear as day, and that triggered off a team to go in and do the triage, get that one back healthy, back up in rotation, and then continue on. So generally speaking, big success. One last note on it. I said earlier there were 6 layers. Our 7th layer is we did add the capabilities for alternate CDNs. Won't talk about that too much, but that did provide us an extra layer of flexibility. Fortunately, we didn't have to go there. Next topic, switching gears completely. One of the big areas of growth for us recently has been in the affiliate e-commerce space. I know a lot of publishers, media companies are involved in affiliate e-commerce and other commerce initiatives. It's been a great area of growth. I mentioned earlier, it's actually one of the engineering areas that I also manage at CNN. And over the last several years, it's been a tremendous success story for us. But it comes with headwinds. Just talked about in the previous speaker. And I'm sure if you've been watching the news lately, sneaker bots are all the rage these days. Fortunately, we're not part of that battle, but we are impacted by bot behaviors. There are lots of bots that are impacting whether affiliate e-commerce or direct e-commerce, and it leads to problems that you see here. The sneaker bots causing stockouts and price inflation, which very much is what they are hoping for. For affiliate e-commerce, content scraping, false signaling, impacting our partner trust, and I'll show the partners in a second. Watering down your data, these are all areas that are impacted by the bot behavior. And then for direct e-commerce, potential PII theft. For us as an affiliate e-commerce deliverer, we have two main partnerships: our customers and our affiliate marketplaces. But they both sit on the same key principles: trust and quality. Our customers are coming to us, they trust the brand, they trust the voice, they know that we will give recommendations that align with their needs. For our affiliate marketplaces, the same thing. They trust us to deliver quality leads, conversions, revenue sources, and look to grow that relationship over time. If you violate either of those, catastrophic results can occur. So our solution, leveraging the Human Fastly partnership, we engaged with Human to start attacking the problem on the client side. Human bringing in technology that allows you on the client to do some of the bot identification, categorization, and then, and this is where it gets more interesting, provide that signal into the Fastly layer, which allows us to do a lot of decisioning and decide how to handle some of these players. As I said, two of our key pain points are from the previous ones: scraping of content, creating copycat sites, or porting that content into other sites and essentially trying to ride the back of our editorial team, as well as the watering down of the clicks into our affiliate marketplaces. Those are the two key ones. What this solution allows us to do, and it involves an integration at the Fastly layer where we've enabled some of Human's technology at that layer to access through the VCL, allows us to get a clear signal from the request on what is the user type, is it a trusted user or not, if it's a bad player, what type of player it might be, and then to allow us to handle that in a variety of ways. A simple way could be just to do the CAPTCHA style, and do a challenge. Human has their own version of a challenge that you can present. Another few options are to intercept and null that request out, literally block that type of traffic. Another one, which is helps everyone and certainly helps with the quality, is to normalize that. Say this traffic, as we pass it on to our affiliate partners, this is not a trust. This is not from us. This is from someone else, while we determine who it might be. But it gets us in good faith so that our affiliate partners know that when we do send them traffic, it is a trusted real user. And then what that does frees us up on our origin. That's a concern we don't have to integrate at the origin level. It's something that allows us to then focus more on our core mission. a key thing helps us strengthen SEO. When you talk about the scraping, as I said, copycat sites, and we've found several. Check your image refer URLs to see where your images are being used. They water down your SEO. They will claim to be the canonical authors of this content. It will impact you. The same content can be found in multiple places, and this is a way to prevent that. And then, so reduce overhead for our team to allow them to focus on the core mission for Underscored. The affiliate partners, I think the benefit is quite obvious and clear. Where we are now, little picture of our threat analysis on the right side that's been going on. We are live collecting this data. We have not gone into full production mode. We're in testing mode, and we'll be going live shortly. If you're familiar with WAF setup and configuration, this feels very much like a WAF threat categorization model. And again, as I said, you can now identify these, decide how you want to handle each type of threat. You see the level of detail. But as you can see, quite a few bots active there. We're in the tuning and implementation stage right now, both in our production and staging environment. Similar to a WAF, there's a point where you activate it and can start the enforcement. We hope to be getting to that fairly soon, but partnering with the human and Fastly team to scale this up and deliver the quality. Last thing I'll say about this is, obviously there's lots of use cases beyond commerce. The CNN and the larger company is involved in a lot of direct-to-consumer and other scenarios where bot defense, whether it's login registration or other commerce initiatives, are an issue. And this technology we look to expand beyond just this Underscored e-commerce. Some takeaways here. This is general. Going back to the main side, the main lesson from the 2020 election is it got us in the habit of constantly reevaluating, analyzing, ensuring that we are ready for whatever eventuality. To also constantly question all the possible failures. As I said, we've made stress testing, load testing, and chaos testing, just coming off of that a couple weeks ago ahead of this election, part of our DNA, and we'll continue to do that. We let stress and load test with a frequency that I've never done before. It's fantastic feedback on the system. The other part is looking to offload all of more and more logic into our edge that you would normally consider a concern at the origin. And we've had tremendous success with that. And we obviously want to protect our product and lift our brand. I think that's it. Again, I put some must-reads down below. Those were key to the 2020 election build-out. You should read all of the Fastly docs, but those in particular helped out. So, thank you.